We just moved offices, so conference room isn't set up yet, so we couldn't all meet together.
Okay, where are you guys located now?
Same place, down a floor.
Bethesda. Okay, yeah, we're just in Roslyn, Arlington.
Oh.
Not too far at all.
No.
And so, Melissa, I am recording this meeting as you wanted to, so I'll be able to distribute this to you when we're done here today.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Can you see?
Yeah. And we can wait a couple of minutes if you want to see if any stragglers pop in, or we can certainly go ahead and get started.
I think we can go ahead and get started since it's recorded. If anyone misses the first few minutes, they can watch it back.
Okay, perfect. So I appreciate you taking some time, Melissa, to speak with Greg at ASAE. I heard it was a fun time, to say the least. Hopefully you guys got a chance to stop by our party at the Hockey Hall of Fame on Sunday night. But hope you guys had a good time in Toronto. I unfortunately didn't get the chance to go this year. Hopefully I'll get to go next year and when it's in Chicago. But you know, Greg obviously connected you and I via email and let me know that you guys had a pretty good conversation. So definitely excited to meet with you today surrounding our online community platform as well as our mentor match system as well. So I sort of just wanted to start today's conversation just with some brief conversation, I guess, about information that I was told, just to make sure that I'm on the same page as you all in terms of the goals for today's meeting, as well as that we're specifically going to be focusing on communities for potentially ISPE and SROA. So I kind of wanted to start there in terms of getting an idea of how many members both those groups had. From some research on ISPE's site, I know they had tons of what looks to be special interest groups, chapters, committees, and councils, but in terms of raw membership numbers, how many folks potentially would be using the community both for ISPE and SROA?
Well, ISPE has about 14 to 1,500 members, and SROA has about 500 to 600. Okay.
Very cool. Just writing this stuff down. It actually falls right within. We do benchmarking studies each year on the types of organizations that we support and different trends we're seeing within each type of organization and what the things we're seeing within their communities. We actually found that those organizations who float around that 1,000 member mark actually happen to be our most successful communities. So I only work with smaller groups, so I enjoy talking about that as a standalone, but usually smaller groups really have a good sense of inclusion already and really take to a community very well. So it's always good to hear that you guys would fall within, both groups really fall within that, right within that number. So I wanted, from a membership perspective as well, have both of those organizations been growing recently? Maybe pretty steady when it comes to membership numbers? Any issues surrounding retention or anything along those lines?
ISPE has been growing, but they're kind of interesting because their membership is tied to their meeting registration, so it's not necessarily the same people every year that are members because we flip-flop from North America and Europe. So our membership is higher in Europe when we have a meeting in Europe, and it's higher in North America when we have a meeting in North America.
Interesting.
SROA, I would say they're kind of stagnant, and they are having some retention issues.
Okay.
A lot of their membership also is tied to one's ability to come to the annual meeting. So while it's not bundled like ISPE, it seems like a good number of people perceive the benefit of belonging to SROA as going to the annual meeting. You know, whereas ISPE, you can go to the annual meeting, and certainly a lot of them do, but I think things like these special interest groups keep people involved whether they go or not.
Okay, gotcha.
And for SROA,
overarching theme.
Annual meeting, their biggest thing is their listserv. So I think they really want to have something more about like these communities, but they just don't have it yet.
Sure. Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, the ultimate goal.
Also, I think the ISPE people are a little younger overall, but they're also more tech savvy. Than the SROA people. I think that's an older group. It's not that they aren't, but I think more of them because they certainly work with technology, with radiation oncology equipment.
For sure.
You know, I think ISPE is ahead in that regard, a slight nod.
Okay. Yeah, no, funny enough, our average user, I mean, we work with all groups who have varying demographics when it comes to membership. Our average user is actually, it's funny, when I first heard this, I was a little surprised. Our average user is a 58-year-old male, which is very interesting. I think a lot of that is attributed to I think, the fact because we've taken what's good with a listserv in terms of the email functionality and blended it into a more intuitive web interface through the community. So I think that's probably why, because most folks use our platform through email, which you probably see through ASAE's Collaborate. But I think we do a good job of capturing every type of membership by making it easy for folks to engage the way they want to and prefer to, as opposed to sort of force feeding them through one avenue and saying, hey, you must do this. Well, you know, with the options out there, members kind of they use the platform in the way that they both are comfortable with, which many folks is through email. So I think both groups, regardless of demographic, will have a way of using it. But good information to know as well in terms of membership size and structure, and you know how these groups are functioning now. So I know you mentioned, Melissa, that both organizations are on Impact for the time being, and depending on who you all switch to for your AMS, it won't be a big deal for us. Like I said, we'll be able to plug into your current AMS and unplug and plug into your new one when you guys switch over. So from a technical standpoint, this will be a pretty light project. With the most important things being the integrations are built. It's a single sign-on experience for members, so they don't have to have different sets of passwords and usernames. And the systems work together in the sense that if things are updated in higher logic, that change will reflect in the database, and really very, very fluid experience of the end user, most importantly. So from a technology standpoint, I think we're right on cue there. But I didn't know if either group had any plans to do any website tweaking or upgrades or redesigns at any point soon. Have you guys thought about that for any of those groups?
Yeah, ISPE is in the initial phase of a website redesign.
Okay. Is that initial phase meaning discovery, or you guys have gone forward with a vendor for that already and are just beginning to work on it?
Yes, we have a vendor.
Yeah, we have a vendor.
Okay. Well, for the future, if any other clients become interested in what we do, we actually power main websites for about 30% of our clients or so. Our platform is our online community platform, right? But that was built on top of our own proprietary CMS or content management system. So many groups use both, typically as an advantage to having two pieces of technology under one roof, as well as typically it's a lot more economical to have us do your website than a custom web design firm. But good to note that things are moving forward in that direction. Go ahead.
I'm curious, of the 30% or whatever, how many of them are associations as opposed to just nonprofits or other?
Our biggest market is associations. Associations and nonprofits compose probably about 92, 93% of our business.
Okay.
That's what we were founded for. And the last question, I guess, I know the collaboration avenues right now are listservs, but in terms of the interest of higher logic, replacing those listservs potentially, and advancing your mentoring program for ISPE, I think specifically, and SROA seems to be the driving factors into looking at us. But I want to know if there's anything you all wanted me to focus on in addition to those factors, based on any personal research or maybe things you might have seen through ASAE or whatever it may be.
Yeah, I mean, I don't, the SIGs and probably some of the committees too with ISPE and possibly with SROA, I mean, they want their own little, I guess it's community. They want to be able to pick a SIG. They want to know who the members are. They want to be able to share documents, all that type of stuff.
Speaking my language then.
Yeah, I think that's the bigger reason to me for talking with you, particularly for ISPE. I mean, there's mentoring program, and so they don't have a listserv. But we have, I don't know, around 14 SIGs now. And they're most of them are extremely active.
No more than 14, we have like 23.
23.
No.
Yeah.
Not in.
We had 23 meeting rooms. between at the annual meeting for 6.
We don't have that many. Close. Okay. Okay.
Either way.
A little bit.
14 and 23.
Okay.
Either way, you guys will be able to build as many communities as you'd like individually, whether it's for your SIGs, your chapters, your committees, your councils, whatever you want. You guys got unlimited communities. And the most popular use case is to center around those different sections of people. So I think you're in good hands. So in terms of an agenda, I know you guys are more and more in tune with higher logic through ASAE, but I'm going to spend a little bit of time here today in a PowerPoint covering some high-level information, but I think the most important part will be when I break out and actually show you the demo environment I created earlier this morning. It's built for ISPE, but it's easily configurable for SROA as well. I just picked one and I went with them first, but feel free throughout the entire presentation, please, to interrupt and ask questions as you see them and as they come to your mind. Happy to address them. So, and then of course I'll designate some time towards the end as well for Q&A. But if that sounds like a good plan for you all and you don't have any questions for me now, I'll go ahead and get started if that's okay.
No questions.
No questions.
Perfect. Awesome. So, Mark, as you asked before, who are we supporting? So we've been in business for 10 years, and we almost only support associations and nonprofits, currently about 1,100 of them, all types and sizes. I purely work with smaller organizations as more of a smaller solutions advisor, which I find actually a lot fun and rewarding. But to our numbers themselves, we're currently powering about 270,000 online communities, and that equals about 38 million users of higher logic all over the globe. Whether it's through the ASAEs of the world or the smaller groups that I work with, a lot of folks out there using it. We do have a 98% retention rate of our clients. We build successful communities that members use actively day in and day out, which help them do their jobs better, which increases member satisfaction, which creates clients that come back to us typically for the long term. We're really successful due to a few different variations. One of them is because of our pre-built integrations with most of the AMS providers in the world, such as Impact and all the other ones like IMIS, Your Membership, NetForum, all the wonderful ones out there to make this really a technically smooth process. And then the biggest factor of why our clients are so successful and why we're so successful is the guided implementation and best practices. The community doesn't operate off the assumption like the field of dreams. If you build it, people just won't come and use it. There's a lot of strategy and inherent psychology to get folks to do things online, and we're your partner in that. We've taken a lot of responsibility on our end to ensure that when we stand up the community, we launch it the right way. We don't just turn it on. There's best practices, there's project management, there's seeding, there's nurturing that we take the responsibility on our end and train and teach you all to ensure that we use all of our resources to make sure that you're successful with them. So really the reasons that organizations work with us is we're an engagement company to our core. We focus on better engaging and driving member engagement. For groups like SROA, you might be struggling with retention. This is a direct tool to help boost retention. Organizations that work with us see about an 8% increase in retention just after year one of working with us. Obviously, when you're keeping active members engaged and they're in tune with the organization, they're on the community, they're sharing resources, they don't want to lose access to those things. They don't want to lose access to their benefits. So they're much more likely to renew their dues with the organization year after year when they're more actively engaged. Much of what is inside an online community is content, right? It's member-to-member and staff-to-member conversations. As a best practice, if you're looking to grow membership for these groups, we can crowdsource some of that content, make some of it searchable and open to the public so we can draw unique visitors in. We can build SEO or search engine optimization so that when unique users go to a Google or a Bing, they're drawn to the website, they're drawn to the community. These are prospective members for your organization. Let's draw them in by leveraging the community as a members only benefit. And then the background, behind all these wonderful tools and features, that's one thing, but we give you the data behind it, the metrics of the community. Being able to have you guys have the tools and the data to make data-driven decisions by being able to understand what's your most popular downloaded resource. What are people talking about? What are they sharing? Did they like that speaker at your annual meeting? Basically, we can understand who your active members are and all these wonderful reports and metrics so you can really create more of a 360-degree view of all your members so you can better serve them. So what you all see on the screen now is our core online community product. So out of the box, what higher logic clients get when signing with us. So we have those discussion groups, similar to a listserv, but much more intuitive within the website. So members have that one location to start discussions in a threaded format, but blending that good stuff about a listserv, we bring that email functionality within the community as well. If you can send an email and you can read emails, you can actively engage in a higher logic discussion group. But the discussion groups themselves are very intuitive by nature and make it very easy for people to ask questions, start conversations all year round. Mark, we talked about file sharing and uploading documents. Go ahead. Yes.
Question. Back to the discussion group things.
Yeah.
Does somebody have to monitor that? Like, assuming there are rules that, you don't promote you're a vendor, you don't promote yourself on that.
Yep.
And we get emails that somebody did, or I don't know.
So there's a few things there. First and foremost, when we roll out the community, we'll come up with a strategy for you all in particular on how do we sort of position this overall tool. We make it very clear before we launch that this is not for self-promotion or anything like that. However, there is a ton of moderation built into the platform as well, where you can monitor specific users, you can monitor specific groups or communities, so you can ultimately have a way for members or things that you don't want on the community to go public. You can have moderation to the point where you can have certain users and groups be able to post, before they can actually post something, it goes through a moderation queue. Over time, members will understand what this is for and you won't need that, but there also is self-member moderation as well, which will give me as a member, when I see something that's inappropriate, I can mark it as inappropriate, and then that would be taken down in real time, and then someone on your staff will get pinged and saying, hey, you need to review this, decide whether to keep it up or take it down. So there's a lot of security and moderation built in, but we have a lot of best practices around how to communicate the community as a professional networking collaboration tool as opposed to a vendor promotion tool or anything like that.
Okay, another question.
Please.
Seems like, on the listserv that we have, if somebody goes out of the office, if someone goes on vacation for a week or something, they have to ask us to take them off, or?
Well, yeah, if we don't take them off, then they get like 1 million bounce back out of office messages.
Nope, so it doesn't work that way. So members will have the ability to themselves go into their Higher Logic profile and decide how often they want to get emails from their various communities they belong to. So when they know they're going on a vacation or they're out of the office, they can go and make sure that they don't get any emails while they're gone. The most popular sort of provision in place is people either subscribe to real-time emails, or what most people do is a daily digest or a weekly digest. So even if they're gone for a week or for 2 weeks, they'll come back to 2 emails from the conversations of the community they subscribe to. But ultimately, the member has that decision. We'll set it up in a way that makes sense for your group specifically, but they're not going to get inundated if they don't want to.
But it's up to them to hit the out of office or whatever to make the adjustment. They have that functionality here.
They have that functionality, but when they launch
the office, I hit a button.
Yeah, but Mark, think about you're in Collaborate for ASAE. Do you ever go into Collaborate and tell them when you're out of the office?
No.
No, and
I don't know what.
But no one gets bounce back from you.
I don't know. I never look at it.
Well, I don't get.
Yeah, no one.
Okay.
Okay. Your messages. Yeah, your messages aren't sent out to the rest of the membership. The way you function with email within Higher Logic is content's coming to you. You're not sending content to everyone else unless you're actually doing that. Like, you're not going to get spammed, or people aren't going to get spammed or emailed because you're out of the office. They're not going to know.
Okay. All right.
Thank you, Melissa. Yeah, the Collaborate is a perfect example of how you guys can control how often you get messaging. So Mark, we were talking about resource sharing before as being one of the interests in looking in Higher Logic for each one of your SIGs or whatever it may be to be able to upload documents. That's what the resource libraries are for in the center of the screen. So each one of your various communities, whether it's centered around a committee or special interest group, can have their own designated resource library where they can upload any document under the sun essentially and tag and label these things. And you guys can understand the metrics behind it in terms of downloads, page views. People can understand. You guys can organize these as well in as many folders and subfolders as you'd like, and I'll show you in real action what those look like here in a few minutes. Directories. Go ahead.
Can they write a document? Can they edit a document online? You know, like you put something up a draft, and then you have 20 people attacking it. Is that possible?
So yeah, what you're talking about is versioning, I do believe, and you do have the ability to upload to
versioning.
To sort. Yes.
Not visioning.
No, not visioning, versioning.
Okay, where's that? Where are the versions?
So that's when you would have somebody. Yes.
Okay.
So that's when you might have a draft uploaded and have people actively work on it and then upload that latest version. So people know that the stages of the document and the process along in terms of getting to that final document eventually. But yes.
Okay.
And it all makes sense when I show it to you, I promise. So directories, pretty self-explanatory, but where members can search and find one another, whether it's something simple like first name, last name, or I want to find other folks who belong to this special interest group or who like this particular demographic or topic, things like that. If you guys want to do anything with blogging, the system supports blogging. Wiki Glossary, if you don't know what that is, it's essentially just a digital textbook for keyword or industry terms, where you can define different items and things like that. The event calendars are really cool. So within the main website, you might have a national event calendar. We're not going to replace that. The idea around a Higher Logic event calendar is that they're personalized based on each individual member when he or she logs in. So if I'm Steve, I'm part of this specific special interest group, I'm going to be seeing events relative to me based on the fact that I belong to that group. As opposed to you, Mark, you're part of this committee, you're going to be seeing events relative to you based on the fact that you belong to that group. So really personalizing that experience from the get-go. You don't have to worry about anything being mobile friendly with Higher Logic. Everything is 100% responsive design out of the box, which essentially means that you can use it from any mobile device, tablet, smartphone. Go ahead.
I have a question. The event count, we set up meetings with Doodle, for example. Does that integrate or yes?
Can you say that again? You cut out for a second.
Okay. I'm just trying to see where this calendar picks up. That is, if you have a date, well, if you set, if I decide that September 17th we're having a meeting of this group.
Yep.
Can you send out a notice on the event calendar? Or
you can. It'll be populated on our event calendar for those who should see it. So you guys can decide if this event should be open to everyone or only specific groups. But the idea is that the end user will have access and know that that event's coming up.
Okay.
And can you assign those responsibilities to, say, like a SIG chair to schedule their own event?
You can. You can designate various sort of super admins within the communities for particular folks if you like.
But can they schedule? I mean, can they
yes.
survey the members to find out a good date?
They can. If you're a super admin, you're going to have more privileges than other people within the community. But generally, you don't have to be a super admin to ask other members questions of when a date works specifically for somebody. You could just go into the community and ask that question. And the idea is that every one of the members within that community are going to get an email, and then they can go ahead and respond from the email so that you guys can solidify a date in that particular scenario.
Okay.
Any other questions really quickly?
Yep.
Okay. Last few different features for the core product here. The automation rules. And as a smaller group looking to manage over smaller groups, the automation rules are something I think you're gonna love. The automation rules are essentially our own native marketing automation tool built into the back end of Higher Logic. It enables you to automate a lot of these once manual processes that are necessary to keep folks engaged. I'll talk about this again in a few minutes, but automation rules are automated workflows going in the forms of emails directly to members based on who they are and the things they either have or have not done within the community. And many clients use to automate the process behind onboarding new members, letting them know when event registration opens, dues renewals, all these things that you would probably need to do as is now, but doing so in an automated fashion through personalized outreach. And again, I'll talk about this in a few minutes and it'll make more sense. We talked about data and analytics, tons of data and analytics and reporting in the back end, so you can really understand the metrics behind what's going on in the community. And then gamification's a no-brainer. Some people think it's silly. I think it's cool. Gamification is essentially just rewarding champion members. Say you have a most active members board, that's gamification. Giving folks points for doing things within the community, that's gamification. Maybe you give them a digital badge on their profile for when they attend your annual meeting, things like that. Just a way to reward your champion members and motivate others. So keeping all that in mind, I want to see if you all have any questions for me on the core product you all see on the screen now.
I had one, but I was blown away by gamification. It sounds like, in some respects, with that automation rules or whatever, that it replaces or is it similar to, what do we use? Those e-blasts.
Constant contact?
Constant contact.
So no, it's not going to replace that. It's not positioned as a traditional email marketing tool. Ours are for, go ahead.
Yeah, I thought of the other question. Well, it happens with constant contact. It happens with a couple questions. One is, I guess it's with constant contact or something. We have people in different organizations that have spam rules and those types of things, so that they may not get emails from us. It's more likely to be constant contact. You know, that they'll get through the spam blockers or they're blacklisted or whatever. That's one. The other is that, at least with constant contact, that somebody can hit a button and they're taken off the list.
Or unsubscribe.
Unsubscribe, right? I can't think of the word. So
it's okay.
Does that is that, possibility? Somebody's involved in a community and they hit, is there like an unsubscribe button and then they complain that they don't get anything?
Yep, that's an action that they will take. So ASAE, that is a possibility. Members do have the ability to unsubscribe if they want. Just like if you got an ASAE collaborate message, you could unsubscribe theoretically. Our best practice says that we position it in a way when we launch where members are automatically opted into these communications. We've done studies that find they're much more likely to opt out than opt in, whereas if you 100% opt everyone in when we launch it, only about 10 to 15% of those folks will opt out, as opposed to the latter. If you ought to have people automatically have to opt in manually, again, that's something members have to do. They probably won't do it, to whereas only maybe 20% of the people will opt in. So they do have the ability to have those preferences on their own, but following our best practices, folks will automatically get messaging, and then they can describe if they really don't want to, they can unsubscribe if they so please.
All right, then what about the first question of?
In terms of email deliverability, right?
I'm sorry?
Yeah, so it's not a problem with us. I understand the concern. We have about a 99.98, I believe, deliverability rate of our emails. Long story short, our emails get to members. It's very, 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 very rare, almost never, that emails are marked as spam and don't get to members. It just doesn't happen with our system.
Why?
It's a good question. I don't know. It's a technical answer that I'm not sure of, but I know it's not an issue. I wish I had more information on that for you. I can look into it for you, but I know it's something technical that I'm not sure of.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you guys have any other questions on the core while we're there?
No.
Cool.
Well,
so I know we're going to be
responsive design. I'm assuming that means it's sized to my iPhone.
Yep.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Or iPad or any device, really.
Yeah. So I can take it with me wherever I go.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So we're going to be focusing on Mentor Match today, sort of blending a professional match.com, but making it a lot easier in the sense that we can automatically set people up to be a mentor, make it easy for them to sign up, and then more importantly, find an automatic system to match these folks, which is, from what I've gathered, a lot of the struggles with sort of built-in mentor type programs. People don't know it's there, they don't know how to sign up, and then you guys are forced to manually match Excel documents and papers for people that have signed up, and then you have to ask them to actually opt in. It's all weird, but I'll show you our mentor match system today, and I think you'll find a really great use case for it. I'm definitely excited to show you that portion of the platform. We do offer community management services as a side note. It's a bit of a premium service we offer. They're called managed services, which is essentially, we have a team here at Higher Logic, right here in Arlington, that has about 15 professional community managers. It is actually a very thriving industry right now, but we have about a team of folks who, for many of our clients, we actually power your community for you from day one. It's pretty much where we not only get it stood up and maintain it, but we also manage it in terms of seeding the community with seed questions, nurturing it, maintaining it, all these wonderful things that we'll teach you all to do, we can do for you at a service if you'd like. Just something to keep in the back of your mind. So we talked about these automation rules again. These operate off that mentality of being able to send the right message to the right member at the right time based on who that member is and the things they either have or have not done in a community. So these come, again, in the form of emails directly from someone on the association staff. So Mark, for instance, say you're brand new to ISPE and you join the organization. You're going to get an email, as you would normally, saying, welcome to the organization. Here are your list of member benefits, and this might be coming from the director of membership or whoever it may be. And in this email, we're not only going to tell you what your benefits are, we're going to present you with the community. We're going to say, hey, here's one of your best and most exclusive benefits being your member community. Log in, Mark, and do something simple. Introduce yourself to your peers for the first time. Introduce yourself to your special interest group, whatever it may be. But let's say 3 or 4 or 5 days go by, and Mark, you actually haven't logged in yet. You're going to get another email from the director of membership saying, hey, Mark, still notice you haven't taken advantage of this awesome benefit yet. Your peers are waiting for you. Please log in and introduce yourself. So then, Mark, you finally log in, you introduce yourself for the first time, everything is good. Maybe a day later, you get an email saying thank you from that director of membership, and we noticed, hey, Mark, you didn't upload your profile picture into the community. Did you know that you were 40% more likely to receive a response to your question if you had a profile picture? So then, Mark, you log in, and you take that next step. So the idea is that we're going to work a member up this commitment curve you see on the screen now to get them to do more complex things within the community over time. Saves you all a ton of time because you don't have to do these things manually. And these are all automated workflows that we've sort of sophisticated over about a decade now that we know work. We give you about 150 of these workflows in the back end. During implementation, we'll coach you and tell you about the 5 or 6 rules you might want to turn on during implementation, but you can also create your own rules as well. So the idea is that we're not going to blast emails, as a constant contact might, which are valuable, but these are all personalized calls to action that operate off of if this, then that logic. It actually limits the amount of emails people get, but when they do get emails, they're personalized and they're based on things that either people have done or should be doing. Does that make sense to you all? I know it can be a little difficult to wrap your head around the automation engine. Does that make sense so far?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Perfect. So just to show you that these rules work, so you guys are familiar with ASAE. We're going to talk about that again in a second, but these are some of ASAE's automation rules from random month back in 2015. You guys might be getting these automation rules without even knowing it until now. Sorry to spoil anything, but I want to direct your attention to the right side of the screen. It'd be a constant contact, really any email blast, you're lucky to yield maybe a 1 to 2% conversion rate. Our conversion percentages are pretty amazing. 43%, 36%, 25%. And again, conversion percentages are getting folks to not only open these emails, but actually complete the action that we're asking them to do. Again, these are PTAs, personalized calls to action, PCTAs, sorry. And the sense is that they work, and these are just some of ASAE's most successful rules. So alongside the software, there's a ton of education, training, and support. We have the Higher Logic Users Group, which is our own online community, the Hug, just for our clients. We have the Higher Logic Academy. Being local, this is an awesome resource for folks who are going to be managing the communities for either ISPE or ISPE or SROA. It's a 2-day training we do in our office here in Arlington once a month. No additional fees. You guys just have to pay to get here, essentially drive up the road. And it's a day's worth of strategy training where you dive in with project managers, discuss particular tweaks and strategy you might want to make. And it's a day's worth of technical training, so you can really understand the back end of Higher Logic and how to fully manage it on your own. We do that once a month in our office, and it's really, being local, that's probably the best resource you guys can have. But we also do online trainings. We do other partnerships with other community experts who do training for us. And then we, of course, have our own annual conference at the end of every year, which is going to be end of next month here up the road in Crystal City, which is an awesome experience. So being members of ASAE, you might be familiar with the man on the screen. That's Reggie Henry. He is their Chief Information Officer. And selfishly, this is a tweet that Reggie sent out shortly after launching ASAE's Collaborate, saying the best thing that they've done in the last 15 years is work with Higher Logic. Obviously, that's a plug for us, but I think it's a big testament to ASAE and the best practices that they've followed from us. And it's really yielded a really great experience for members, as well as some good return for their organizations as well. And the reason I think Reggie tweeted this, and the reason the finance community at ASAE loves Higher Logic as well, is the return in which we've given directly from the community. So they found that ASAE Collaborate members were 30% more likely to recommend membership to a non-member friend or colleague, as opposed to those who were not active on Collaborate. Taking that to the next level, they actually found that those active members were 56.7% more likely to spend $3,000 or more on non-dues items, whether it's registering for ASAE events, buying publications, whatever it means. Long story short, active members in the community spent more money than those who weren't. Higher Logic is a very quick turnaround in terms of the project scope and timeline. It takes about 2 to 3 months to get everything fully up and running. We've gotten it up in a month before. It really just kind of depends on how quickly our clients can move with us. But really, it's a quick turnaround as compared to maybe a database project or anything like that. We spend time establishing technical requirements, building out the integration, finalizing it, creating a single sign-on experience, beta testing the community, and getting everything live around that 10 to 12 week mark. So I'm actually about to break out of the PowerPoint and show you the demo site that I built out for you all earlier today. You'll see some handful of clients on our screen now, but I wanted to see and pause if you had any questions for me before I broke out of the PowerPoint.
Yeah. When you're working with an association and you're implementing it, do you have any experience with if you do it with staff only versus sometimes you may want to get, you know, a group of interested committee members or members that want to be involved along with staff?
Yep. Yeah, it's a blended approach typically. Typically in the beginning, we're working with staff to just establish things that only staff members would know, like technical requirements and technical setup, all those fun things. But as we sort of get things more visible, we would suggest actually keeping some of your best members involved to ask them what experience with the community they would like. And then during beta testing, those committee members or whatever it may be, those are going to be the ones actually testing the community for you. And then after that, we'll gauge them, we'll ask them what they think, and then we can go back to the drawing board if we need to make tweaks and changes. So typically it's a blended approach, but we encourage getting folks involved just to make this experience personalized for everyone.
Okay, thanks.
Yep. All right, so guys should be seeing nothing on the screen right now. Give me a second. And now you should be seeing at least ISPE's main homepage here. Okay. So this is the demo community, an environment that I built out for you all earlier today. So keep in mind your actual communities might look entirely different than what I put together today. I was a hospitality major in college, by no means a web developer, so everything that you see on the screen is completely configurable and customizable based on what you guys would want. So the logo, the navigation, the colors, the slider here, all these different boxes and widgets can all be changed just as face value. So the first thing to note is that I'm logged in as Steve, the member, here in the top right corner. And the key to creating really a quality community experience for members is making it relative once they log in, exposing and presenting interesting and relative content based on who I am right when that homepage when I log in. So you'll be seeing a latest discussions feed here. This is the latest and greatest things or conversations going on in which the communities that I subscribe and I belong to. So in this instance, I belong to the open forum, but say I belong to the executive committee or the finance committee or this special interest group or this council. I'll be seeing the latest and greatest conversations based on the fact that what's going on within those specific groups. So really personalize that experience from the get-go, because if members have to dig for content, they're going to stop digging after a certain point. They're going to get discouraged and they're not going to log in again. So really know how to craft that experience right from the get-go. Maybe here's some of that gamification, potentially. Maybe we're going to highlight a member of the month for you. But inherently, we want to make this a very easy experience when members log in. So we have these major navigation buttons here. Maybe I'm going to set up my profile for the first time. Maybe I'm going to start a discussion post. Maybe I'm going to share a document or file to the resource library. Maybe I want to connect with my peers. Look for that person I met at the annual meeting and connect with them on Higher Logic and continue that conversation I had. Just an additional layer so folks can find each other. Let's leverage your existing social media footprint by pulling in. Go ahead.
When you, all right, say you follow that example, you want to follow up with someone you met at the annual meeting. Then does that exchange, if it comes off, is that open to everyone, or is it just between the two of you, or does it?
As far as what type of exchange are you referring to?
Well, I don't know. You wanted to follow up with somebody that you met at the annual meeting.
Yes.
So
let's
that's
say
kind of a personal.
Yep.
Like a factory.
Yeah.
So we just.
So if I try to connect with Melissa, say I'm at the annual meeting, I'll find her here, not her.
Oh, I see.
And now there's a few things I can do. Right. I can send a message, or I can, more importantly, I can add her as a contact. And when I send Melissa this add as a contact request, she'll get a message within her Higher Logic profile and her inbox saying that Steve wants you to add you to his network, and we can also direct message if we'd like as well. So you'll see that my contact request is pending, and because we're not connected, I might not be able to see anything else on Melissa's profile yet. And that's something you guys can choose to not do or not do.
Now, this is all within higher logic, what you're doing. Because when I'm thinking of contact, I'm thinking of like adding it to Outlook, but it's not going there.
No, but look, there's my email address, so if you wanted to email.
Okay.
If you wanted to, you can put it in there. But the idea is that we don't need to go out to my email address to actually have those conversations.
Right.
You can, but you can have it all in here.
Okay.
Like ASAE. Collaborate.
I don't know. I don't use it.
But I have a question.
You should use it, Mark.
Could you add tags or something to people? Like, could you say, I'm interested in these things, and then search people by interest?
Yes, you can. I don't have it set up in our demo environment today, but we do have hashtag capabilities and being able to follow hashtags and designate different topics I'm interested in. You can also mention people as well.
Okay.
Or on the front end, then you can put in the categories that people might be interested in.
Yeah, and that's something we can configure during setup.
Okay. All right.
But yeah, to continue down the main homepage really quickly, I was talking about your social media presence and being able to pull in your Facebook page and your Twitter feed if you so like, maybe promote your annual conference. But when we talk about mentoring, we're probably going to want to promote your mentoring program, as you guys do on ISPE's website, right within the homepage of the community, where I can learn about the program and why I should be a mentor. Again, you have the full flexibility of an entire content management system, so you can pull in all the videos and programs as you'd like, and I can enroll in mentoring today. And I'll show you what this looks like in a second. Mark, I know you like gamification, so here's some of that gamification down here. Here's that most active members board. Where me, I'm number 1 on this list, so I've been very active in the community, as you can imagine. I've accumulated a certain amount of engagement points, and because of that, I'm recognized here. If I wasn't on this might motivate me to do more things. Here's an example of that event calendar of events that are relative to me, based on the groups that I belong to. Well, let's actually dive into the community. So again, you guys can build as many communities as you'd like, whether they're for chapters, committees, special interest groups, councils, whatever it may be. And each one of these individual communities can have their own security settings around them. So you can have an open forum, which, true to its name, can be genuinely open. All members can come and talk about general topics. You can have a semi-private community, which might be like a special interest group. If it was semi-private, you on your staff would have to either grant or deny access to me when I tried to join that specific community. And then to the extreme end, you can have a 100% private and locked down community, save for the board of directors. In reality, the board of directors would probably be private. So if I was not serving on the board of directors, I wouldn't even know this community existed. It would not be an option for me. If we dive into the open forum specifically, you'll see things similar to the main homepage in the sense that you see the latest discussions, you see the latest shared files. You can upload a document very easily. All you have to do is click Upload File. It pulls in this tool here where I can choose files from my desktop, from my computer. I can choose all these different options here. You can easily, this is a fun example, you can easily take a picture, and this is me. And now that's been uploaded to the community.
All right, time out. I have a question.
Fire away.
So Melissa, who will translate. Right now, somebody writes where we go through this document process and it goes through the public comment, and it's posted someplace and people can edit it, and then that document goes back to the originator and they tweak it and send it back, and we send it to the board. Would you be able to do that on this if it was an open discussion and saying, here's a 5-page manuscript. I'm talking to you now, Steve. Here's a 5-page manuscript. We're going to put it out for member comment. People can put their comments on it, and then when it's down, we can give it back. We close it off, and it goes back to the author who reviews the comments.
Yep. That can happen here as well. So just as an example here, so this is, Kelly uploaded this document. It can be that 5-pager you were talking about. and this is version 1, right? This is the original version that we're going to start editing. You can have comments down here, and this can be a proceeding list of comments based on the version, but then I can take this offline, I can download this for myself, and then I can pull it over, I can make changes, whatever it may be within this document. Then I can upload that new version, and that'll be once it's done, it'll be in here as version 2. So people can track the version.
Well, when you, back to the version 1, the draft, and let's say there are 20 people make comments, or, well, how can they embed them like a...
Mark, I don't think, I'm just going to cut in, I don't think this is what we would use for that.
All right.
Yeah.
You're looking for more like a Google Docs type thing, right?
Yeah, ours is a little more complicated as far as like we don't upload new versions. We have a program that allows you to like kind of like edit changes on one version.
Yeah.
So I don't think this works.
Like a project management tool?
Then the other problem is that if people had opted out or something of the community. So we could probably send the link through the community as one thing, but I don't think it would replace what we currently do.
All right. Just an idea. But yeah.
No, I like it. I like the idea around it. We recently did acquire a company called Covey about 3 or 4 months ago, and they do standards. They have a project management or standards development tool, which is really for committee work. That's for when folks are working on documents, when they're having voting around documents, and you have different projects and timelines and things like that, and deadlines. That is something that we offer now. I don't have it set up in my demo environment. It's pretty complex. So I don't know if that might be of interest, but that's something that we recently brought onto our suite of products here. But just that in the back of your head. So I wanted to show you the listserv functionality because I know it's important. So as we'll see here, Melissa actually was a little bit active earlier today. I just I took a piece of content off of an article and embedded it here through her user. And you guys can embed pictures and videos in any document with this discussion post. And as a member within the web interface, I can do a few things with this. I can like this. Here's that moderation, member self-moderation I talked about, where I can mark this as inappropriate. And if I do, it'll be taken down in real time and then sent to a moderation queue. If this was a string of answers to a single question, I can actually go in and mark an answer as the best answer so people don't have to dig for that best answer. I can also pin this post, send it to the top, or promote this post as well. But as a member,
Wait. Back to the option where you said, if I don't like it, I could, I forgot, and it becomes removed?
No, it goes to moderation.
Oh, it goes to moderation. So
one of us would have to go in and either approve it so it stays or delete it.
So that's just one person's opinion.
Right. Yeah, so it doesn't get deleted, it just goes to moderation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I only have these. The only reason I have these here is because I'm a super admin.
Oh. Okay.
So to show you that email functionality we talked about, similar to what ASPE does, here's that same post within an email that was sent to me directly. Again, members have the opportunity to get this email in real time, a daily or weekly digest. And all I have to do to engage in this conversation is hit reply within my Outlook tenant or any email tenant you use, and I can say thanks for sharing. I believe I have the at mention capability. Yep. Well, I can actually mention this to you, but I won't do it here, Melissa, but I'll show you that in the web interface.
Who does that go to?
Everyone.
It would go to
Everyone?
Melissa. Oh, for this specific message? Yes. It would go to everyone who belonged to this group.
Oh.
And it looks like there's also the option to just reply to sender.
Oh, okay.
You can, and you can reply directly to the sender as well, or reply to the group. The default in which you hit reply, for at least this setting, goes to everyone, but you guys can change that. We just wouldn't recommend doing that.
Okay.
To show you how you reply right within the interface, it's very simple as well.
Oh.
And now, because we have the at mentions, I can mention Melissa in this comment. You can also add hashtags as well. And now that hashtag will be stored make things more searchable as well. And we can also designate and launch with hashtags particular based on what you guys might want. But as you'll see, my response from email is there perfectly 58 seconds ago, as well as my response just now with Melissa mentioned in it.
Are these topics or whatever archived in some way?
What topics are you referring to? Like the hashtags? Or the topics
No,
themselves
not the
in terms
hashtag.
of...
I don't know. Whatever the discussion topic
Yeah,
is.
look at the top. See, Mark, it says library.
Wait.
So here are all the discussions. So in this sense, these are all the discussions that have gone within this particular community. Lots of them, right?
All those things are.
You'll see that these are all discussions that have happened within this specific community.
Oh.
And you can search, right, for like a keyword?
Yep. You can do a search, yep. So say you want to find something, I don't know, tax related. I hate tax, and now they'll search the entire community and pull information relative to taxes. And we have an Amazon-style faceted search.
Yeah.
So you could search by content, by community, by author. I want to find only posts that have attachments with them. Or I want to search for only documents, whatever it may be. You can also do by time frame. And this is where all those discussions are archived, but you'll see that some of these actually have paper clips next to them, and that's when somebody uploads a document with their discussion posts. You can see who the person who uploaded it was. It's Greg. You can see that it's a Word document. We can download this for myself. Again, you can see the metrics behind it. You can add tags and keywords. The really cool thing is we actually look inside of each document and pull keywords, which helps even further with searchability. You can also see all the documents within this specific community, either in a list format, or what I prefer to look at it is a folder view, where you guys can organize these to a T, and we can have as many folders and subfolders as you'd like. You guys with me so far?
Yep.
Do you ever have any issues with people, like, I don't know,
Issues with what? I'm sorry.
security issues with people uploading documents, or is that not really an issue because people log in and you assume they...
Not an issue typically. Plus, we examine and thoroughly look through documents as they're uploaded. So it's not haphazardly. Something that's potentially dangerous will not have the ability to be uploaded.
Okay.
So to show you the profiles, this is what a member might have in terms of they're going to have their own profile picture, all these different bio information, and all these demographics here. Members can manually update this information, but because we're integrating with your database, you all can decide which demographics to pull over. We can also sync up their LinkedIn profile, so if members have LinkedIn profiles, they can sync those different accounts. And the cool thing is that because we're integrated with your database, if someone were to update their information within Higher Logic, that change would reflect in Higher Logic as well as your database. You can see who my connections are in terms of my approved friend list in terms of my contacts. All people I'm connected with. You can also see who I am similar to but haven't been connected with yet with my networks. So based on my demographics, there are 17 people who have similar certifications to me. There are 21 people who work at a similar organization. There are 3 people who went to the same school. All things that will help me extend my network. We can gamify their contributions. Here's where I spent my time. Yep, go ahead.
Question. All right.
Yep.
Does the reverse work? That is, if somebody does it, if they send in a change of address, they took a new, and we have to enter that in the database, will that automatically populate this?
Correct.
So it's reciprocal. Okay.
Yes. That's the beautiful part to the integration.
Yes.
If people lapse, they'll get removed from the community. If they stop serving on this committee, they'll get removed from that community for that committee. All these wonderful things.
Sometimes I've noticed when you're looking up people that if they, and it may be the way we put names in our database, but they may have, not because they're Europeans, but sometimes they do have long names, and if we truncate them at the wrong place, like Sonia Hernandez Diaz, for example, her last name could be Hernandez, or it could be Diaz, and she may not be found necessarily if you're searching on the wrong word. I don't know if that makes sense, but
yeah, it does. So in that instance, we might want to just search for Sonia. I don't want to deal with putting in her last name, but if we can just search by her first name here and find her.
Well, that's one way.
We also have an
advanced
advanced capability. Beyond those, if I'm struggling to spell her name correctly, but I know her first name is spelled Sonia, I could search by location. I could search by whatever community she belongs to. Say I know she belongs to that specific special interest group, I can search with there. You can search for really by any demographic you so please.
So that eliminates the member directory, or no? Oh, yes. So it's a new member directory. Okay. Yeah, certainly.
Just to show you something pretty cool, radius search is something newer that we offer. So I'm in Roslyn, and I want to find other members who live near me in Roslyn. So I type in our directory, 22209, and this pulls in an embedded Google map, so I can find folks.
But that's U.S., and that's fine. What about postal codes or something? Because we're international.
Not a problem. It can get, it's a Google map, right? It doesn't have any limitations.
Oh. Well, it does. I mean, go back to where you inputted, or where your information was, where you searched on your zip code. Because
you're not going to find anybody, at least in my demo environment, with an international sort of zip code, because we don't have that set up that way. But if you guys do have international members, as long as that's stored within your database, then we can find them here.
Well, I mean, it would be postal code, not, or country or something like that.
See what you can do, an address, state, zip, postal code.
Where?
Right, it says it right in there. Enter address.
I'm circling it right now.
Oh.
But it's like if you go to Google and you're searching for an address.
This is literally a Google search.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. So one last thing to show you guys, mentoring, because I know it's paramount for what you guys are trying to do. So you might have a page specifically tailored towards mentoring, right? Where you're going to promote these programs, where you have mentoring testimonials. You have your most active mentors. What programs you can subscribe to. It'd be fun videos around the power of mentoring. But I want to get involved, so I want to enroll in mentoring. So this puts a simple step in place where I can actually find out how do I roll in mentoring. So because you're a member of the community, you already have a profile, right? You have a regular profile, and then you have both a mentor and a mentee profile. If I'm following these steps here, I want to enroll as a mentor. In that, I'm going to update my status. I'm willing to be a mentor from today's date, September 5th, all the way to the end of the year. Say I'm leaving the country for a month. I can temporarily not participate in mentoring, and it's just temporary. I'm not getting removed from the program. I can designate how many people I'm willing to teach. So in this instance, I can't do more than 3 people. I'm going to do 2 people today. And I can save this. Now it's been saved. I'm enrolled successfully. Now I can finish off and view my mentor profile. In this, I'll see a mentor status. Again, this is just for me. I can find a mentee very easily. I can find somebody who's a professional. If I know who that person is, I can search for them. I can find people in my state or province near me. I can find topics that I can teach in. People who are who want to learn about these specific topics, any demographic you so please. I can also suggest which mentoring venue I prefer, whether a conference call, whether an email, whether a face-to-face. I can also designate, I really want to teach people who are not super new, but are earlier in their career. And I can find those folks. The reason that you have a mentor and mentee profile is because you may want to learn certain things and teach other things, which just makes sense, right? In my mentor and mentee profile, I can have a bio around my specific experiences, and we can have those topics I mentioned before. In that, I'll have the ability to send people various mentor or mentee requests. If I wasn't a member, I can't send myself a mentor or mentee request. But if I find that person and I search for that mentee, maybe I know Marvin. I want to really make sure that he is, we connect and we have this relationship. I search for Marvin. I find Marvin. I learn all about his member or mentor experiences, and I want to add him as a mentee. So now Marvin has a message in his inbox from me saying that I want to have this relationship, and he can either approve or reject me. The cool thing is we have these
this is all electronic. There's no, if there's a committee overlooking it, if there's a committee, they don't have to match people.
Correct.
They can hear problems. Okay.
This is pretty much what
the cool thing is because we have these automation rules, we can set up automation rules to automatically connect these folks. We can send a message to all these mentees who are designated as mentees to log in and search for a mentor, or automatically put these folks together in an email and introduce them. It's all this legwork that you guys would normally do with your mentoring program that are all automated within our system. Makes it very easy for folks to connect with each other. So to show you a few live sites, there's another ISPE, different one that we work with. This is their site and community. AAPS, the American. Yep.
Oh, the engineers.
Yeah, there is.
Oh.
They're a client of ours.
Oh.
Here's the Hematology and Oncology Pharmacists Association, their community. The American Pharmacists Association uses us for their community. The American College of Radiology uses us for their community. The American Orthopedic Foot and Ankle Society uses us for their community as well.
Can you?
And of course, you all are ASAE.
Yeah. Can you show me? I guess it would be like a special what they might have. I'm interested in that.
I'm sorry, you cut out. Can you repeat?
Show me.
Community.
The
That
community.
whole first link
Oh.
you went through.
Oh, okay. That could be a general community, or it could be
Yeah, you can.
just focus it to a specific community.
Yep.
People with
You guys
like-
can have topic-based communities. They can be for your special
okay.
interest groups, anything you want.
Okay.
Yeah, so I wanted to give you guys the floor for a few minutes and see what questions and thoughts you might have.
I can see where you provide or for additional charge someone to monitor that or run it, because it could be you're creating a job, perhaps, depending on the group. If it's not self-contained, I mean, I can see. Well,
There's a lot of automation.
It's a good thought.
there's a lot of automation,
Can I address that?
but you may. Yeah.
So, it's a natural thought, right? How much work is this going to create us? So there's a few things. We're going to get the community to a point where it's self-sustaining, right? It will take some time, but over time, most of our groups really don't put too much into it after a couple of years. But the idea is in the beginning, the more you put into it, the more you get out. I will say it's not going to create a new job for you. While we would love to have a person sole job to designate to do this, you don't need to have that. Typically, we consume about half of an employee. It's about 8 to 10 hours a week of maintenance. But the idea is that you're not going to be alone in that. We're going to train and teach those key staff members so they know how to utilize the platform to its fullest capability. Being that you guys are local, I don't foresee any scenario that you guys wouldn't be successful with this. Being the fact that we can always come to you, you guys can always come to us really for nothing essentially. But the idea is that there's ongoing training, education, and support. You're always going to be the latest version of our software, and you have the resources both locally as well as digitally to get those answers when you need them. to be able to connect with us, to be able to have the tools readily available to you to make changes, make tweaks, and know what you need to do when you need to do them. So while it will create some additional labor, the return on what you will get because of the labor is going to ultimately be a tool that your members will love and give you guys the data that inherently will be able to give you guys the ability to make better decisions based on all that data we give you.
So let me get to the bottom line, which is how much does this cost?
Great question. So there is a one-time, I always love talking about it. It's very easy to budget for. So there is a one-time implementation fee that includes the integration to your database and getting everything stood up. That's a one-time fee of $7,500. Then thereafter, we're a SaaS model. So it's SaaS, software as a service, which means there's an ongoing fee thereafter. And for what you see on the screen now, our core product, that would be $750 per month. However, these additional modules, which can be purchased a la carte individually, such as Mentor Match, are $250 each on top of that. So in your realistic scenario, you would be looking at $1,000 per month for the core and the Mentor Match module. So a first-year investment would be $18,300, and obviously that goes off the preceding years because you don't have the implementation fee.
So if we have two clients and they're like in the same database, would they both have to pay that same initial fee? Because I would assume it's just once you set up one, you just kind of like duplicate it.
Well, the idea is that they're going to have their own branded and own sort of provisioned communities, correct?
Yes.
So it's still working our end. The data may be coming from the same place. That ultimately, we still have to build two community tenants, right? But they both share the same impact database, you said?
Yep.
Okay. So this is what I for sure can do for you. If you would want to move forward with communities for both ISPE and SROA at the same time, I, with great confidence, would be able to go to my boss and probably get some discounts for you on that implementation fee. While not promising anything, if you all came back to me and said, yes, we want to move forward, the only thing prohibiting us is having the implementation fee, then I can go to bat for you.
Okay, and then once we change the database over, we wouldn't have to pay the implementation fee again, would we? No.
To say, I don't know if that vendor, whoever you go with, they might charge something on their own, but obviously that has anything to do. I can't sort of predict that.
Right.
But yeah, there shouldn't be any additional fees on our end for just changing the integration. You'll have, even after you guys go live, you'll have sort of a point person to ask questions and talk about additional services with thereafter, and that person will be your go-to for when you guys make those changes.
What was I going to say? So is there like a year-to-year contract?
Yeah, so typically our agreements are, our typical agreements are 4 years.
We're atypical.
Most of our agreements are 4 years. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I think they would want to know, I would think someone would want to know is, this is nice. I mean, we recognize it's an investment and it's going to take some learning time, but, you know, what if nobody's biting in year one and we roll it out and, you know, so maybe you tried for 2 years. And then at the end of 2 years, which seems minimal, it's like, well, we're not really getting the traction that we thought.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, you know, I don't know. Every client that I've brought on to Higher Logic is still a client, so I haven't had that situation yet. You know, lucky for me. And honestly, no one on my team has had that situation yet. So So I don't know, to be honest with you, but the idea is that if there's one thing, if I were to pick one thing that Higher Logic is good at, it's getting members to use the platform. If there's one thing that we're good at, it's that exact thing. You obviously would recognize that if we wouldn't be a company very long if we didn't have people log in and use the platform. And usually, right. I mean, in reality, I'll be honest with you, there's a 2% in there that fall off. We only have a 90% retention rate. And for those organizations that do fall off and don't re-sign with us, it's those organizations who really don't follow our best practices. There's a reason that, we're a decade old. There's a reason that clients follow those best practices because we're the experts at it. And while community will not be, it's not going to be 100% successful within 2 or 3 months. It's going to take some time. There is a learning curve. There is a strategic way to roll it out and keep it nurtured and growing. So you're not going to receive the engagement that you overall want after 2 or 3 months. It's going to take 6 months. It's going to take 8 months. It's going to take time to grow it and get to the point where it is self-sustaining. But the idea is you're not doing that alone. You have us, and we're the experts at it, and we'll ensure that if you follow our best practices, I can guarantee you'll be successful with it. So I hope that helps.
When I was talking to Greg at ASAE because, to be honest, I think the only thing that's really holding us back from doing something like this is the cost, especially for SROA. He had mentioned that, bring on more than one client, maybe they can bundle or take down the monthly price a little bit or something like that. So I don't know if that's something you can help with, but that would help us. Yeah,
and that's kind of what I was alluding to a little bit earlier. If we were to get, in this situation, ISPE and RSOA going at the same time, I can definitely do some work on the installation fee. I'm not sure about monthly fee. I might be able to get some budget there with you. As you can imagine, the $750 monthly, or in this case would be $1,000 monthly. That's our entry level tier. So it's a little difficult for me to go to our CRO, Mark. I don't know if you met him about those, but I've gotten discounts for the install fee before between you and I. I'm almost certain that because if we would really bring on both of those clients on at once, that we can do a lot. We can be flexible with the implementation fee. On that end, I'm not sure about the monthly fee. I've never been able to get a discounted monthly fee, just to be honest with you, because again, I work with small organizations and who have our entry level pricing as is. But I'm confident that I can definitely be flexible with the install fee if we were able to get ISPE, ISPE, and SROA on at the same time.
Yeah, I think that SROA is more of a financial challenge. I think. Even if it was. Well, I don't know. If it didn't have, they want the mentor-mentee, and Well, yeah, they want both of these, but it's that additional money to get the mentor-mentee. If that was built into the initial, take $250 off of it, that would be nicer from their standpoint.
I hear you. I hear you.
I think they'd like the communities too. It's just enhancing what we have, and what we have is what, listserv?
Yeah.
Which is what, $1,000? Yeah. So they're happy with the listserv, but
yeah, that's great.
Where did that $11,000 a year come from? That's a little harder sell, I think.
Yeah, undoubtedly.
So.
The idea is that this is a listserv on steroid. Well, so you're going to be getting a lot more. While slowly, I love when organizations have success with a listserv, right? That means that their members are engaged and they're using honestly an outdated tool, and they like it, which is great. So if they're happy with that, they're going to get so much more value out of this, because the thing about a listserv is that it's good for email functionality, but those conversations get lost so easily in the black matter. None of it's really archived, none of it's stored. You can't upload documents. It's not an easy, intuitive format. Whereas, again, we take what's good about a listserv, and the satisfaction, if your members like listservs now, they're going to be up in arms, happy because they have this now, because it's going to be building upon it's something that they already are used to, and just making it that much better. It's like gravy on top of mashed potatoes. Mashed potatoes are great. People love mashed potatoes, but with gravy, it just makes it that much better. I've been using a lot of Thanksgiving table analogies lately when describing communities. It's weird. I'm sorry.
Right. Well, this has been great. I know Melissa's talked about it, and I've seen the ASA site once in a while, but yeah, not to the
Get on there more.
capacity.
Yeah, now you can log in and finish your profile and.
Yeah, I haven't done any of that. Be a mentor. Yeah.
And this is what I would suggest
Well,
doing, guys. What do you guys think?
Yes. Well, I think, I mean, going into this and what was described, I mean, I think this is great, and I think ISPE would love it, and I don't think it would be a hard sell on that. I think the other group would probably love it too, but I think it's going to be a slightly tougher sell because of the money issue. You know, and they're going to look at what's the return on investment and all that, and I think they would be, you know, saying 4 years would be, I don't think they'd go for that. I think they'd want to see, they'd want to try it, I guess, yeah, and see how it goes.
So what if we told them that, like, it takes, because it would take time?
Oh, it would take time. I mean, I think 2 years is, you know, you'd see something, maybe 3 they'd go for, but 4 is a long time. I mean, and yes, with all your statistics, I mean, I don't deny that, but they're not, their financial position is, you know, not as good.
Can I throw some thoughts at you real quick?
Sure.
So with SROA, what's the return, right? I think for them specifically, Melissa, you mentioned they're struggling with retention.
Yeah.
The fact that they can receive, they're going to increase that number with us, right? We have statistically, for every client that has had struggle with that, they've boosted retention numbers from year one. And for a member-based association, that's huge. That's value right there. But I think for both groups, for potential for growth and bringing in new members, I think that's huge as well. And the fact that organizations who have communities have members spending more money than those who don't is a big value add there. And I think I can send you a lot of documentation on additional ROA, because that's something that comes up quite often. And what I can do, and this is, let me know what you think about this. I say ISPE, it's a no-brainer. I mean, it does take time to get communities up and running and fully where we need them to be. So I think, and I'm throwing this scenario out, we do a 4-year agreement for ISPE, and we do a 2-year agreement, maybe even a 3-year agreement, but I could probably do 2-year agreement for SROA. And then on top of that, I can probably go to my boss and get a discount on the installation for both. And I'm hoping with that, that'll give you guys enough sort of flexibility and enough comfort in the sense that you don't get the 4-year agreement that we would typically want with SROA. We give them sort of a shorter term agreement to see how it goes. Mm-hmm. With ISPE, it's a little more formal, but on both of those, I might be able to get, I'm pretty sure I can get a discounted install fee for both of those.
Yeah. That sounds good. And also, I want to know, I mean, definitively, because, the question that Melissa asked earlier, that moving to another AMS at some point in the future, I mean, and this be probably the last one to be shifted, and I don't know when this would happen, but it could be at least a year away, that it's written in there, no, there's no additional cost
on their end.
On your, that we're going to, on your end.
I will double check for you. I'm almost certain there's nothing additional cost on our end at least, but I will double check that for you.
Or if it is, it's minimal, not thousands. It's $50.
I don't even think there is one, but I'll double check for you.
Okay. All right. Now, as far as timing, just off the top of my head, the board, the SROA board meets the end of this month.
Okay.
It would be nice to show them this.
I can do that for you.
To them. It will be on a Saturday.
That's fine.
Let's see, we're meeting in the morning, so we'll be in San Diego. So if you could get up early, I mean, if we could put it on 10, something like that.
Do you know what date that is?
11. Yeah, it's the
23rd.
23rd.
Saturday 23rd. Okay, let's pull up my calendar real quick.
Well, you could come out, but
If you guys want to bring me out to San Diego, I will not say no.
No, we'll buy you breakfast and lunch.
Saturday 23rd, yeah, that should be fine. I've done Saturday demos before. It's quiet in the office, which is nice. And so you're going to be on the West Coast, so that's fine with me. And you said, you know what time it's at?
Well, I would say not before 10. The meeting starts at what, 9?
Yeah.
I mean, we could go to 11 maybe. 11 would be 8.
I'll keep it more brief than I did today.
Yeah.
What I'll do, I'll block off my time from 1 to 3 Eastern on my calendar for Saturday. As the date gets closer, maybe let me know a little bit more specific time. And I can send you a meeting invite once you are able to confirm that, so we can set up another go-to-meeting.
All right. And what would we need? A projector? No.
You guys need a projector or some way for everyone to see one screen and conference line?
Yeah.
So we'll need a
projector.
Well, we could maybe connect. We need a speaker and a phone and everything.
Yeah. But we could call through the computer, no?
You can.
Be able to hear.
The sound quality might not be the best though.
Okay. All right. So we'll just get what we get.
We'll get it home.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, the other thing would be to put you on the spot, because somebody's going to say, how much is this going to cost? So if you have a revised idea of what or I guess you could say this is the installation or the first year, but we may be able to get you a discount, and we would talk for it too. Normally, it's a 4-year agreement, but in your case,
we'll give you 2 years.
We'll give you 2 years, and it'll be about this amount per year.
What I'm gonna suggest
is good.
Yeah. So what I'm going to suggest is that we do a 4-year agreement with ISPE. We do a 2-year agreement with SROA. And I'm looking at this as pretty much one, even though it's going to be 2 separate projects, I'm looking at, from monetary perspective, I'm looking at it as 2 different agreements, right? But together, the normal installation for both groups would be $15,000 together, right?
Yes.
And what I'm going to propose to my boss, pending that you guys are okay with it, I'm going to propose we take $5,000 off of that install. So to make it $5K for each group, $10,000 total.
Okay. Yeah.
Would that be? Do you think that would help for you all?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
now
but
we're going to. I can't.
Now, wait.
Go ahead.
That's the installation. All right.
Yes.
Now, are they still but the total year one cost is what, $12,000 a month, $1,000 a month?
Yes.
The operating expense. So it's going to be 5 plus 12.
Yes.
In year one.
Yes.
Okay, so it's 17.
Yes.
Okay. And then it's going to drop down to 12, assuming no changes and no. Can we get something like to say that these rates will stay for the term of the contract, or do you raise?
No, we don't. We're not gonna. You're gonna be paying the same throughout. It's in the agreement itself.
Oh, okay. All right. And I don't think we don't own this, so we wouldn't amortize it. I talked with Tom. I don't know about that. It's probably.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, how we record it on our books. Do we depreciate this over 4 years?
You should talk to Tom.
Yeah, I'll talk with Tom. All right. All right. So, I mean, I just want to have an idea of what the prices are. All right, here's what it is. I mean, so that could be sticker shock right there for SROA. It could be 17,000 to get this, and then 12,000 the next year. So
Yeah, I think maybe during your presentation, focus less on like the technical way you use it and focus more on like the user experience, because that's what they're gonna, they're gonna see from the user end, not the staff end. So like as interactive as you can make it.
And one of the things we're trying to do at that meeting is set up. We've eliminated the term committees, and we're creating work groups and special interest groups. And so the concepts would be, if you're interested in emerging technologies, you would be a community. And it would function the same way, or at least give them tools. But I think some of it is, I'm not sure they know what to do, whereas ISPE, these special interest groups are off and running, and this is a slam dunk.
Yeah, but I think for SROA, this will help with their special.
Yeah, it would help. Also, I think the fact that we can develop a list of descriptors when someone registers. Of what it is and that type of thing. So they can find common interest, that type of thing.
And anything you have on return on investment would be good too to share.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So let's say from a working perspective, dues, we have members now, they get access to it. They don't pay their dues. When we cut them off from their dues, then they're cut off from this.
Yes, correct.
Right. It's our database, so if they're no longer a member, they're just out.
Right. They're cut. All
exactly.
Right, so that's right. What about? I'm talking with Melissa. The toolbox, would that go on here, or would that stay where it is?
I think it would stay where it is, but this could probably help with the toolbox.
Yeah. Okay. Something to think about.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So we have a meeting on the 23rd. With SROA board, and they're the key decision makers. I'm thinking out loud now with ISPE, we have a meeting, the executive committee isn't going to meet until, I think it's like the 13th of August, of October, I'm sorry. And I think they should see it. I don't know that we have to run it through anybody else. I mean, I think if they go for it, we can just do it. And I think this one's earlier. This is East Coast time at 7 a.m. That it will start.
On October 13th?
I think it's the 13th. It's around there.
October 13th is a Friday.
It's not then.
The 17th or the 10th?
17th is a Tuesday.
Oh, it's the 10th. I have it on my calendar. The 10th.
Yeah, 10th at 7 a.m.
I can do that. I don't mind getting up early.
Okay.
So 10:10 at 7 a.m.
Yeah, I think that would be good. That we run it. We run it by them and get a go. And I would try to get them to agree to it this year and start moving on it. As it happens with SROA, if they like it, I mean, their budget starts January 1, whereas ISPE's budget starts July 1. So we're already in the year, and I don't think they don't have to. I wouldn't think they would wait because it's going to take a while to get it going.
Yep.
But this would be good.
That's ISPE you're talking about?
SROA, I'm sorry.
They wouldn't wait. You're talking about ISPE in that instance?
I don't think so. I think if they like it and we can start going ahead, because I forgot, what did you say? It's going to take a number of months to get with it.
Usually 2 to 3 months.
Oh,
to get it up and running, at least.
Yeah, I think that would be good.
Okay.
You know, I don't see waiting until next July to approve it. I mean, I mean, if you like it, do it. SROA I think they're the type that would probably say, all right, thank you, let's talk about it, and then, I'd want to know, should we put it in the budget? You know, so we may get a decision to say yes, and it'll be in next year's budget type of thing.
Okay.
But we're approaching the end of the year, and maybe we could start working on it before then.
Yeah, we can get flexible with that too, where you sign at a certain date but don't have to start paying certain fees by whatever.
Yeah.
So do you think either one, if all stars align, everyone loves it, everyone gives all the thumbs up, do you think either one of these groups realistically might be able to get working on it this year?
Oh yeah, I think ISPE.
Okay, I figured as much. Just wanted to kind of clarify.
I mean, it's spot on with a lot of the things we just heard at the. We just came back from the annual meeting, and things that we heard about people want to do. They wanted to do it with the website, but because they didn't know, I don't think they know about this.
Right.
And I think this would replace a lot of angst and make a lot of happy people. I think SROA is tougher. I think it has a number of things that, you know, they certainly could benefit by, but I think they look harder at dollars. They don't have all that many as much discretionary money.
Yeah, smaller group. I understand. Okay. Well, in annual revenue, I mean budget-wise.
Yeah. Well, we'll know. We'll know something.
Okay.
Now, let me ask.
Go ahead.
Who are your competitors?
It's a great question. So we, you ever hear of Melissa? I don't know if you've heard. You ever hear of a group called Socius?
No.
Okay. Well, they were our biggest competitor. We bought them about 6 or 7 months ago.
Okay. Well, now
other than that.
Yeah.
No, other than that, when it comes to doing what we do, we have about 56% of the market share, so there isn't too much out there. A lot of the times, if we do lose, it's usually to people who leverage some of the tools that AMS providers offer as a free add-on, but they hardly ever work. Usually, when folks try the free tools, they come back to me 6 months later. Saying, hey, no, no one was using it. We didn't achieve the engagement we wanted. I was like, oh yeah, well, it's because AMS has tried to be everything to everyone, where we know what we're good at. So direct competition really isn't much out there, to be honest with you. I'm not just saying that biasly from an employee perspective, but I hardly lose deals to competitors. Where I lose deals are when organizations, sometimes for lack of a better explanation, can't get out of their own way.
Well, I mentioned this to somebody the other day, and they said, well, did you look at LinkedIn? LinkedIn has some ability to do discussion, or I don't know what they could do.
LinkedIn does it. Facebook has Facebook groups. I mean, the idea is that the goals of a social media site are entirely different than the goals of a community, where Facebook and LinkedIn, their goal is to sell you advertisements and to know everything about you. Whereas the goals of a community are to help members do their jobs better. The biggest differentiator is the fact that a community is something you all provision, something that's branded towards you all with those direct sort of goals internally in mind. And you are able to own all of that data, all that member interaction and engagement that you can actually, report on and own those metrics. As opposed to Facebook and LinkedIn, they own that data. That's a land grab of your members. So, the goals are different, the features are different, and the benefits certainly are minuscule when it comes to a third-party social media site, where the benefits of a community are, there's a long list of them.
And there's some customization too, because I remember SROA, they had a Facebook page and they wanted me to make changes to it. And you can't just call up Facebook and be like, oh, hey, can you change this? It just is what it is.
And they're starting to charge people for different things on those sites too. We were founded for associations who need help with driving member engagement, right? That's what we do.
I was just curious, is ASTRO a member? Or
who is it?
ASTRO.
Astro.
Astro International?
No, they're American Society of Therapeutic Radiology or something like that.
I'm not sure. Let's look it up.
Yes.
No.
There was one when they were looking at the listserv, Mark,
Yeah.
and I think it was like ACHHH or ACCC. Remember they were like,
American, huh?
They said, we really want this, and it was Higher Logic.
Oh.
Which organization was that?
ACCC?
Yeah, ACCC. There's
Association of Community Cancer Centers?
Yeah. What about ASRT?
What's the? I'm bad with acronyms. Which one?
ASRT.
Do you know what it stands for?
Oh, American Society, American Society of Radiation Therapists. Something like that.
We have radial technologists. Radiological technologists?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, they had everything locked down.
Oh. All right, so that ASRT, these are good points for you to use in your presentation.
They like to copy people.
You know, if other people did it, regardless of the fact that they have 5 times as much money, but there's a certain credibility, and they may be on it in that site. But
okay, yeah, I mean, yeah, there's a lot within that realm for sure. ASRT, and you mentioned
Astro's in Arlington.
Yeah, they moved to Crystal City.
Astro.org.
Who is it? It's Astro?
Yeah.
Astro.org. But they changed their name.
I think they just go by Astro now because it doesn't like say.
Yeah, no. Are you talking about these guys?
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah. So they're still going live. I actually went on site and did one of their meetings with them. So yeah, no, they're a recent client of ours. They just haven't stood up quite yet.
Oh, all right. Well, I would mention those 3 groups.
So ASRT, ACCC,
yeah,
and Astro.
Yeah.
Okay, will do.
Now, they have far more money than SROA, but it's some of the people may know it. They go to that site. They may or may not. Some may be members of ASRT, and they may be on that. But yes,
I would imagine many folks would be.
That would be
on
good.
ASAP.
That's a good marketing tool.
Okay, fair enough.
You know, if others do it, then there's some credibility. If they've checked it out and it's good for them,
yeah,
we can do it.
I definitely think there's some credibility with what we do.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else? All right. Well, Melissa has your contact info. We'll just make sure you get on the agenda and confirm that.
And what I'll do, Melissa, I'll send you 2 calendar invites for those 2 different board meetings, just so I have it on my calendar too. And then as the dates get closer, just let me know the specific time you want me to dial in, and then I'll send over a go-to-meeting for that specific time for both of those. If that works.
How will that? Wait, if they dial in on a conference on the ISPE call, they dial in our number, so we can give you the number to dial in.
Yeah.
And
we can use your audio.
Okay. Because we'll have people around the world.
Yeah, that's fine. We can use your audio, and we'll just use the GoToMeeting for the screen share.
Okay. So we'll send you you'll have our conference call number.
Yeah.
Okay, that'll work.
All right. Yeah, we'll probably put you on at 7:30, something like that.
That's fine. And what I'll do in the meantime is I will
on the agenda.
Okay. I will send you I'll send you. Would it be helpful to send you the PowerPoint from today? Or do you want me to just hold on to that? No. Okay. I'll send you the PowerPoint, and I'll send you in writing in an email what I propose we do in terms of the metrics behind for what I'm proposing in terms of price. So you have that.
Okay. Yeah.
Sounds good.
And then we'll have that on file. I'll send you, Melissa, an invite for both ISPEs and SROAs in next meetings, just so I have that. And then if you can communicate to me before those meetings the specific time slot you want me to present, I'll adjust that invite and I'll send you the go-to-meeting for those.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
All right. Great. Well, if you guys have any questions for me at all, in the meantime, please don't hesitate to give me a call. Let me know if you're ever in the Arlington area. Happy to have you guys into our office. It's quite new, so it's pretty nice. So let me know if that ever happens. And
We're in Arlington.
So we are in Roslyn, so very close to Georgetown, across the bridge.
Yeah. What street?
So we are on Wilson Boulevard.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Yep.
Well, we both live in Virginia.
Mark will stop by.
Well, you stop on by. We have Well, Mark, I don't know if you drink beer, but if you drink beer, we'll come into the office. We have a fresh tap every Friday.
Melissa will be there. I drink coffee. Or single malt
coffee too. We have plenty of scotch as well. We have a bunch of scotch and whiskey drinkers here. So let me know when you guys are in town. We'll come in. Swear to God.
Okay.
You can. But yeah, let me know if I can help in any other way. It's been a pleasure meeting with you all. I'm sure we'll speak again soon and meet in person soon.
Yeah.
Look out for the email from me later today. And as always, give me a call if you need anything.
Thank you very much, Steve. It was a pleasure talking with you.
Pleasure as you well, Mark. Thank you, Melissa. Goodbye now.
Bye.
Bye.